This week's episode of 6 Degrees is slightly different to usual. Jamie and I tracked down the world famous Bear Grylls, who I have had a connection with for many years now. About 20 years ago, my brother, aged 22 at the time, was the youngest Brit to reach the summit of Mount Everest, and we tragically lost him on the way down, giving that record essentially to Bear. And Bear has always been incredibly kind to me, and I felt that he has looked out for me in a number of ways, and he's been kind enough to come on the podcast to talk to us today.
Also, can I quickly just and listen, you know, Bear and Spencer, feel free to answer as little as much or as you want to, because you know, I think Spen, you probably never mentioned, you know, you had your brother Mike, who Bear knew, and you know,
well, I was actually interested to ask, Bear, you met Mike, didn't you, before his Everest summit?
Yeah, I did.
I remember as a kid reading your book, Facing Up. Well, I say reading your book. I read the bit about Mike at the end. I was very young. I was 10 at the time, and that's when you kind of appeared as a figure in my life, because you had summited Everest shortly afterwards and were kind enough to reference that Mike was a year younger than you. Is that right? Are you?
He was. He was on the mountain a year after I was there, and I always feel it's his record. I really do. I feel I was a younger sort of Brit at the time, and I remember then Mike going and he paid the ultimate price with his life up there, and it really rocked me at the time, because I remember meeting beforehand and sort of being so encouraging for him in a way, saying go for it, you know. And it's like it really shook me in the sense it's the dark side of high altitude mountaineering, is that you can't there's no guarantees, and bad stuff happens to amazing, brilliant, talented, brave people like your brother, and it really sort of rocked my confidence, I remember afterwards, and I always kind of felt that, do you know what, I'm going to really have an eye out for Spencer in his life, and I felt your brother on my shoulder often, and I just want to say I think you're amazing. I really do. You've had a really hard journey, and I think you faced it with courage, and I think Mike could be really proud of you, I suppose, is really what I want to come on this podcast to say, you know.
Well, that's incredibly kind, Bear, and actually every time that we've met I've felt an incredible kind of warmth and kindness from you, which was not really necessary. So I feel that, you know, you've been I've always kind of looked up to you in many ways, and at the time actually that my brother passed away, I can remember feeling similarity in you and him, and just whenever we've crossed paths, you've always been so kind to me, including that wonderful email at the end of last year. I just felt, you know, again, that you don't need to be you know, doing these lovely kind things, but you do.
Well, yeah, you're so sweet.
Because what I want to say is I want to echo that, actually, because what a lot of people don't realise about Spen, right, is that, you know, a lot of people see Spen as a certain person, but actually tough life, and you had to go through a lot of tough things, and coming out the other side is a pretty amazing thing. And with you, Bear, you've probably seen that with like a lot of different people you've chatted with, been on your TV shows with. There are a lot of people who from the outside they have a perception of them, but actually underneath it all, you know, there's lots of differences, and actually coming out the other side is one of the hardest things, because most people don't come out the other side. Do you sort of see what I mean?
Yeah, you're so right, and you know, I think this thing of be gentle, because everyone's fighting a real battle, whoever they are in life, and I think one of the privileges for me with shows like Running Wild, you know, where we get to take so many of these superstars away, is you realise, you know, money and fame doesn't solve a lot. You know, it doesn't. What it actually does, I think I've learned from being beside it so often with these people, is that it amplifies who you are. You know, and if you're a bit of a arsehole, it makes you a real arsehole. And if you're really, you know, if you have struggles, it makes the struggles bigger. And if you have, you know, hopes and aspirations, it gives you a chance to really go for things, and it just amplifies who we are. And but it definitely doesn't solve much. And I think for both of you guys, you were thrown into a lot of that at a sort of such a formative age, and I think it's amazing the way you both kind of made something of all your Made in Chelsea sort of journey. But it is, I don't know how you guys look back, but I think in your young 20s, you know, late teens, young 20s, you're still trying to figure out who you are, and you're trying to, you know, and it's not always easy.